Hey, welcome folks. Mark Rolton coming to you live from the Massland HQ. I trust that your year is coming together nicely for you as we now enter the fourth quarter of 2015. How quickly has this year gone? It seemingly has evaporated before our very eyes. My question to you today though is, what are you doing with the time that remains? It's not how you start, it's how you finish. And you and I have literally got 10 and a half odd weeks before the year closes out. What are you going to do to capitalise on that 10 and a half week window? Because right now, I think a lot of people are being jolted by world markets. I think they're being distracted, by the slowdown in China's economy. What about the financial markets in Europe? Where is the economy at and unemployment, in the Northern Hemisphere? What's really going on behind the scenes? And although that happens, and we know that's a standard sort of formation in the way that markets work in a macro market, but what's happening in our own backyard is really what needs to be highlighted. People often come and ask me, say, Mark, well, how do you know the future is going to be quite stable and robust around Australia's economy? And the answer to that question is pretty simple. When you think about the basic, like a staple for us right now, we know that we have a massive ageing community. In Australia, we have a baby boomer segment that's going to see the bulk of them retired by the year 2020. Now that stands to be 5 years away, or about 60 months, not terribly far. When you put that in the context though, between now and 2020, 4 million Australians retire in this country. 4 million Aussies hang up their shoes for the very last time and say, right, I've got the golden years to live out. Now think about that. What does that translate to you and I as investors, as entrepreneurs, as people that really want to get ahead using property? It means a couple of things. Firstly, there are 4 million people that now need to make the most of their superannuation. It's not enough to live in the bank and get 2.9%. It's not enough to live in a managed fund and be charged 4% in fees per year. They're going to need aggressive returns on their capital. That's going to see a spike in real estate values. All that money, yes, you guessed it, just over $500 billion is moving out of super and into self-managed super funds. Secondly, what does it mean when 4 million people leave their job, full-time employment vocation? It means the federal government is forced to now increase immigration, which they've been doing for the last 5.5 years, 6 years. It means they've got to rapidly increase the skilled worker force to now cover over the holes left by the 4 million stepping out of their jobs. That means new housing demand is going to see a massive spike, an upturn in what's required to house new people. And think about it, folks, what does that do to our tax base? You've now got retirees that are paying some tax. You've got a new workforce or a growing workforce that's going to be paying maximum amount of tax. It increases the base of tax that's available to the federal government. That increases infrastructure spending, that increases federal spending, that increases private industry spending. These are the key signs that you and I must use in order for us to be intelligent investors. So I had my team this morning dig out something for you, which again goes back to one of those cornerstones in our investment history, where we know what's going on, but we don't necessarily practice it. I've got a property here that we pulled out this morning, literally an hour and a half ago. Was sold in February 2007 for $320,000. Nothing terribly special, not a great looking property. But it was sold in August 2015, 2.5 months ago, for $665,000. And I've got to remind you, the old rule of property in Australia doubles every 7 to 10 years. Well, that's wonderful. But this has doubled in 8. It's about on par. However, we saw one of the most graphic encounters that you and I have ever experienced in the financial market. We saw the global financial crisis in that period decimate values of anything across the globe, whether it be property, wheat, rice, any commodity dipped 20, 30, 40, 45, 50% in some cases. And yet that property has still doubled in an 8-year window. So my question to you is this: how are you going to finish this? You've got 10 and a half weeks. If you're sitting on your thumbs, or I haven't done everything I thought I would do, Mark, or I haven't achieved my financial targets overall, it must be time to do something. Folks, pick up the phone, send an email, ask yourself, what's going to change if you don't change? And the answer is nothing. It's about you doing something. Get off your butt, call the shot right now and say, honey, this is how it's going to be. This is how we're going to finish out 2015. And if you're curious right now, we have got one of the most significant projects Massland has ever created. The Stow, it's a phenomenal master plan community, and I'm proud to say there are only a few stages remaining. We are well over now halfway through selling this entire project. It's a massive deal, just over $200 million, and I'm proud to announce that there are some available, and the project is going to come online through the course of the early part of 2016 through to the close of 2016. So this is Mark Rolton suggesting to you, do something now, today, this moment, that helps you move forward to attaining your financial aspirations. Don't let it just be a discussion at the dinner table. Do something about it now. This is your call to action. Look forward to sending some more profits and some more capital gains your way. Have a great afternoon.